Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Shema Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Tuesday, November 28th of 2023. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Glad to be back home in the studio. Uh, Plane landed at like 7 something this morning, and I was like, ooh, I get to make my video. Our kitty cat definitely missed us. You might hear him in the background and stuff, but definitely glad to be back and get back into the swing of things. Let's go ahead and hop into the astrological transits for today, this astrological weather, so you can be better prepared to navigate these energies. Well, we are, of course, coming off of that full moon in Gemini. That moon's going to be in that third decan of Gemini today. And it is, of course, going to be making that square over to Neptune today, as well as make the opposition over to Mercury. So we're going to get a nice little T square today. We're going to really start to see that come into fruition. A little bit later in the day, of course, we're talking 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to see that moon make the square over to Neptune, right? We got to remember Mercury just came off of that square, still within 2 degrees of it. But Mercury is now barreling towards Capricorn, where it will be making its retrograde. Of course, the moon in Gemini, and it being in this decade that's ruled by Uranus. Uranus, of course, which is still retrograde in Taurus. These maybe are conversations that could shake things up, especially a little bit more on the world scale, especially with the moon that's going to be in opposition to Mercury and it's also going to be squaring Neptune. Be prepared to potentially see some interesting news come out today. Especially probably more on the local level. We'll probably see more stuff like that, if anything. There will be stuff on the larger scale, but it'll kind of it will kind of hit a little bit closer to home just because the moon is in Gemini. So this could be probably more so, more national news as opposed to international stuff. But we may still see some international things, especially with the moon that's going to be coming into that opposition with Mercury today. Now, another thing that's kind of forming here, and it's kind of loose, it's not exact, but we do have like this rectangle. I don't know if you guys see this, but we essentially have this energy here where you have the moon, which is trine the south node, and Venus, sextile the north node, and Eris, and opposing Mercury. So we have 2 oppositions, the moon and Mercury, of course, the nodes, along with Eris and Venus. So it creates like this rectangle, if you will. And I always look at these energies as sort of like a letter, if you will, because it kind of looks like a letter with the rectangle and then the cross. It's interesting because you get 2 trines, 2 sextiles, and 2 oppositions. So this is in many ways is sort of like a message, if you will, a letter. And I guess since it's modern times, it's probably more of like an email, if you will. And this is happening in cardinal fire, mutable air, mutable fire, and then cardinal air. So you got that's the thing about this rectangle that we're seeing forming in the sky. And like I said, it's not exact, mind you. But we will see our multiple of those energies here at 24 degrees. And then, of course, Venus is pretty loose here. Mercury is involved. This is happening at the same time that Mercury is going to be, the moon is going to be in square to Neptune. So definitely receiving some sort of message from the universe today, especially when it comes to fire and air energy, which can cause a bit of a spark, maybe an explosion, if you will. Whenever you bring these energies together, it's going to create some sort of dynamic kind of energy. And, you kind of want to go into a day like today, just, I guess you could say to be cautious. That moon in Gemini is also going to want to bring out our natural curiosities about the world around us. But with it being in square to Neptune during this time, there's definitely a moment where we could be emotionally swayed to adopt certain narratives, and we have to just be open and be aware of the narratives and the stories that are being pushed on us You got to remember, this moon is going to oppose Mercury today as well. This is going to be happening at 26 degrees, right? So that's the thing about this. They're going to the moon actually will catch up to Mercury as far as the opposition before Mercury hits that 27th degree, and this rectangle loosens even more so. So that's the thing about this. It's almost like it's like we're getting the message today, and we're like, there's a potential to where we like barely miss it, or like maybe there's like a time limit as far as like when we can open up this email before it gets just buried in all the spam email and buried in all the other things, messages that come forward. This moon opposed Mercury is sort of like this sort of like aha kind of moment where it's like, especially gotta remember, Mercury, this moon house, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, so it's dispositing this moon, and Mercury doesn't really like to be in Sag, and Mercury is also starting to actually slow down. Let me actually just look to see how fast Mercury is moving. Mercury is moving at a minute 16. It got up to about a minute 40. I want to like a degree and 40 minutes, right? So it didn't quite get to 2 degrees, which is the fastest that it'll move. Now it's actually starting to slow down, and it's still out of bounds. The moon and Mercury will be out of bounds today. Mercury 25 degrees south, the moon 27 degrees north. So not only are they out of bounds, but they're on opposite ends of the freaking spectrum. So that's kind of a weird thing about this. Whenever you get a day like today, when both the moon and Mercury, the two fastest moving energies, are out of bounds, you can't really rely on your mind, and you can't really rely on your emotions, because those energies are going to be exaggerated and hyperbolic. That's why you really want to be careful, right? When it comes to this moon squaring over to Neptune, this moon opposing Mercury, and then, of course, making the sextile over to the North Node and trining that South Node. And, of course, coming on, it will trine Venus on the way to this. So, which is a positive aspect. This moon trining over to Venus gives us a nice little harmonizing aspect where, we definitely want to feel like we can connect with people and open up those relationships. But we have to make sure that are we going towards the South Node energy? Are we maybe falling into a pattern that we've done before, a relationship dynamic that we have played out before, that we know is just going to lead us to the same places where it's always led us? It's sort of like this is literally one of those moments where like you have the person that's like, oh, I can change him. You said that about the last 5 dudes, or like that. It goes both ways too. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I can change her. You said that about the last 5 girls, right? And the same signs are coming up, the same caution flags, the same red flags are coming up. Do you really think the situation is going to be different? That's what you have to ask yourself, right? Don't let this kind of energy pull the wool over your eyes and try to that's the kind of energy that this is, will try to fool you and try to put this sort of image in your mind's eye about what a situation is. Don't let this be like a Wizard of Oz kind of moment, right? Where you uncover the secrets, you uncover like what's behind the veil, and they still try to perpetuate that story onto you and up the anesthesia, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing about this. I feel like there's going to be this element. Shoot, like I saw the video. I'm sure did you guys see the video about that chick going to Target for Black Friday, and they just put the Black Friday sign over the regular sale price, and it was the same freaking price. Did y'all see that shit? That's the kind of energy that we're in right now. It's like, get this TV for $399. Black Friday, get this TV for $399. But all they do is change the framing of that sale. Oh, it's Black Friday. You're getting a great deal when it's the same shit. So this is the kind of energy, right, where You may go into a situation and it may be framed differently, but it's the same shit. It's the same shit. It may sound good, it may sound enticing, but just be careful. Just be careful. And that's honestly pretty much what I got for you guys today. Let's go ahead and hop into the cards. So, like I said, I got this new deck, working on getting it very well shuffled and stuff too. So, I think by now it's pretty good. So, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. All right, so the card that we have for today. Yeah, we have the Page of Wands in reverse. Yeah, so I feel like, we're wanting to kind of jump right now and wanting to manifest some things. The Page of Wands is definitely having us be a little bit more on the naive side. It's like very bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, really wants to go for it, really wants to manifest, really wants to create, really excited. But with it being in the reverse, we still have to learn that's like practice is still going to make perfect. Just because we want to manifest things and bring things into our life and bring things to fruition doesn't mean that we can't just skip the work and skip the studies. I always see pages as students. So this is a student of fire kind of energy that we have today. This is very much so. This definitely gives this feeling of this Mercury and Sag with the moon opposing it, where it's like we're very curious. We want to learn things. We want to explore. We want to feel invigorated. We want to feel like we're moving towards something and optimistic. This Page of Wands in reverse, though, don't let a day like today or don't let things on the outside world kill your optimism. But at the same time, this does bring a bit of a realism to the forefront too, that we can still create our dreams, but it's not going to be as idealistic as we think it is. We have the Seven of Cups in reverse. I think really what it comes down to is that we have to make a decision where there are so many options, but this is one of those days where it's like paralysis by just over analyzing the situation. Remember, like I said, like the moon's out of bounds today, Mercury's out of bounds. So your emotions and your mind are going to be out of bounds today. Right? You can't really rely on that. It's going to come from a deeper sense of intuition. It's going to come from that connection to spirit. Seven of Cups in reverse is like you have so many options and you don't know which one to pick, but the answer is probably there. And maybe you're just sort of denying yourself the answer. Maybe you're trying to turn a blind eye to it. Maybe it doesn't look exactly the way that you want it to, but it's going to be that cup that ends up leading you to the promised land, if you will. Bottom of the deck, just for the overall. Yeah, we have the Three of Wands in reverse. Yeah, there's no need to just keep pondering and just sitting on the freaking cliff, staring out at the sunset, or just constantly chasing the sunset. I think that's another energy here. It's like constantly chasing the sunset, never letting the sun actually set. That could be this whole, like I said earlier, I can change them. But you've done this thing 5 times before, constantly chasing that sunset, never letting the sun actually set on that story on that day so you can start the new story. This Three of Wands is having you wanting to really make the decision and not just sitting there pondering on what to do when you already know what to do. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful Tuesday. It is good to be back. Seattle was fun and stuff. Seeing that beautiful Mount Rainier, that was really cool. But glad to be back home in Georgia, the land of the trees, the city in the trees, for real. So y'all take care. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful Tuesday. I'll see you on the next astrology forecast. Peace.